Assalamualaikum and good morning to Dr. Izzah and my fellow friends. First of all, let me introduce our group members from Group 4. They are myself, Sharifah Nadia binti Syed Muhammad, Nurul Duratul Ain binti Khairuddin, Tanala Chimi Tanabala, and Muhammad Saifullah bin Khalid. For this group project, we have chosen one of the biggest and largest hotel brands in the hotel industry, which is Marriott International Incorporation. Each of our members will present a table of content. Please allow me to start with an introduction. Marriott International was founded by J. William Marriott and his wife Alice Marriott. Marriott is the largest hotel chain in the world by the number of available rooms. As the pandemic of COVID-19, many organizations have been affected. Due to that, organizations have to take necessary action to survive in the market. Therefore, the HR planning unit has taken the step to recover the company performance. Let's start with the first content. What should HR planning unit be doing while a retrenchment strategy for human resources is being implemented? There are three types of retrenchment strategies. First, turnaround. Second, divestment. Third, liquidation. Turnaround refers to the step taken by the management to address the recovery of a company's performance. In general, turnaround strategies emphasize internal efficiency improvement, and failing companies can be treated back to the health through any of the following or a combination of efforts. For example, reducing costs may involve layoff or downsizing of personnel. Let's move to the second retrenchment strategies. The divestment strategy includes the downsizing of the scope of the business. In other words, selling a division of a part of organization is called divestiture. It is used to raise capital for further strategic acquisition or investment. It is also used with business units that are unprofitable. For example, Tata Communication, they have started the process of selling its data center business to reduce its debt burden. Third is the liquidation strategy. The liquidation strategy is the most extreme and attractive strategy, which involves closing a firm and selling its asset. It is the most crucial and the last resort to retrenchment since it involves serious consequences such as a sense of failure, loss of future opportunities, spoiled market image, loss of employment of employees, and etc. The company that adopts the liquidation strategy may find it difficult to sell its asset because of the non-availability of buyers, and also may not get adequate compensation for most of its assets. For example, the hotel industry may focus on the room facility which are more profitable and may shut down the less profitable services given in the banquet hall during occasions. The strategy which relates to the current Marriott hotel condition and situation is the turnaround strategy, which is downsizing and layoff. The Marriott had furloughed 1,200 employees in March and in December 2020. As shown in the slide, there will be a decline in employees in 2021, which is 0.83% from 120,000 employees in 2020. In this case, retrenchment does not promise that immediate savings will exceed long-term costs. There is immediate positive gain following retrenchment in terms of reduced costs. However, the company needs to take a huge initiative in ensuring its growth and stability in the future by taking steps to recover damages by solving issues such as a heightened mental health issues. They can be implemented by Marriott Take Care, which is built on the relationship between the company and its associates, encouraging them to be invested in their own well-being and that of others. This take care includes fitness events and challenges, financial wellness tools, emotional health, career development training, and opportunities from community involvement. That's all from me. The next slide will be presented by Nurul Duratul Ain.
Khairuddin. So for today, my part is to determine downsizing strategy for the chosen company and list all the jobs and department that involve and justify the action. Downsizing strategy is a popular method for improving organizational performance while selectively reducing expenses. It refers to a choice made by an organization to downsize the workforce in order to enhance organizational performance. Downsizing has become one of the famous themes that academics are interested in, as corporations are keener in downsizing based on simplifying and reducing costs. This process causes hierarchy and number of employees to decrease, depending on the strength of the situation encountered or the nature of decision. It is hard to adapt because it causes radical changes in the business structure or in the business culture, and therefore it is a process that needs to manage well. Cameron, Freeman, and Mishra have determined that the accepted downsizing strategies are as layoffs, restructuring, and systematic strategy. Legatsky has created a downsizing typology in regards of downsizing strategies. The major goals of strategic downsizing are to increase the company's profitability and financial health through enhancing productivity and efficiency. Osterk and Tenglimoglu have categorized their downsizing strategy as in the table. Labor reduction, restructuring, and systematic strategy fall under category of strategic variation. For labor reduction, the feature is to aim to reduce general accounting level. It is basically a short term with the focal point in labor reduction. For example, directly layoffs, transfers, and early retirement. For restructuring, the feature is aiming organizational change and the duration is in a medium term. The focal point is work reduction. Example is for the function elimination, exportation, eliminational, gradual level, and product. For systematic strategy, it aims into the cultural change and basically in a long-term duration. The focal point for systematic strategy is organizational culture, system, and employee attitude. For example, changing responsibilities, attaching all employees to the processes. Downsizing happens in organization due to many factors. For example, there is 6 factors that could lead to downsizing. Declining profit due to overall financial and economic situation and travel restriction due to COVID-19. The management decide to reduce the operating costs, merging with another organization to decrease the level of management, experiencing business downturn, and increasing pressure from the competitors. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, Marriott International Incorporation are one of many businesses in lodging industry has taken certain measure to recover their business. Marriott International Incorporation has been performing at 50% below the normal levels can be operating in the European market and Asia Pacific, excluding China. Marriott CEO Arne Sorensen has stated that the hotel chain was performing at over 55% of average levels. Due to this reason, Marriott has decided to furlough the two-thirds of its 4,000 corporate employees in its Bethesda, Maryland headquarters, as well as about two-thirds of corporate personnel worldwide. As a result of this crisis, it is possible to examine the downsizing strategy that can be applied by Marriott International under one heading, workforce reduction. Workforce reduction can be defined as a business endeavor to save expenses by terminating a relatively significant number of workers. The necessity for a staff decrease might be caused by both internal and external forces. Work reduction does not limit at laying off certain employees. There are some situations where it may involve the following options, with reducing the amount of available working hours for all the employees, annual holiday, bonuses are being reduced while promotions and pay increment are being frozen. Reducing the number of work jobs by shifting employee tasks, eliminating or reducing overtime pay whenever possible by the law. Furloughs and layoffs are phrases related to a form of work absence or leave. Marriott International also are advised to implement forced furloughs or layoffs. These two phrases means as furloughs is normally allowed for a person to return to work, but a worker who is permanently laid off is not allowed to return to work unless they were just temporarily laid off. Business owners or employers face significant hurdles and dangers when implementing workforce reduction due to uneven treatment or a detrimental impact on protected employee groups. When planning essential labor cutbacks, several options are possible, such as seniority-based selection, employee status-based selection, merit-based selection, skill-based selection, and multiple criteria ranking. In this, we would like to suggest a certain employees based on a certain employees and department that could be applied under the workforce reduction. As layoffs are applied as department-based and employee-based, personnel from the food and beverages department are laid off and no hiring activity should be done during the pandemic because of the department-based layoff. In other words, those who can be employed in many jobs and are not laid off, like for example the waiters. In before, waiters are being divided into few sections, but during the layoffs, waiters that have vast knowledge and can multitask in all sections should be retained. Staff that can be allocated with more than one task are left to work, and all the works will be assigned to staff that could manage it. Employers could reduce their seasonal employees that they hire during peak season. Instead of that, employer can accept trainees and work with lesser personnel during peak season. Besides food and beverage department, another department that could be put on effective under workforce reduction is the customer service department. Lesser personnel needed as travel restrictions due to COVID-19 are being imposed. Operating from call centers, most centers can be closed and permanent staff can be divided into seniority-based selection and skill-based selection to determine their laid-off status or being allowed to work on remote. Besides layoff, senior employees from different departments and level that can be offered to take the early retirement packages. While layoff can be very unpleasant for all parties involved, the person losing his or her job, the management making the choice, and the surviving employees. A popular first step in recovery is to provide early retirement incentive. This step alleviates much of the discomfort associated with layoffs and other harsh actions by providing employees with an incentive to depart voluntarily. Offering early retirement packages is a simple and effective strategy to reduce labour expenditures in short period of time.
Hi everyone, my name is Dhanalashmi. I'm going to explain about what kind of evaluation criteria could be appropriate in this setting. Marriott International Company can focus on labor demand for this quantitative method. Thus, this method we choose trend analysis, which is a very simple quantitative demand forecasting approach that forecasting future requirement based on the historical link between operational index and the number of people required by the business. Next, I will explain the advantage of index or trend analysis. First of all is development effective budgets. Marriott International may be able to anticipate expenditure by evaluating the company's personal requirements. For example, Marriott International may need to employ seasonal labor or enhance wages level. Next is make detailed workforce predictions. Using HR forecasting to gather better knowledge of its employees as well as help to organization address shifting demand for new talent, output, and productivity. Next is regularly forecast HR requirement. Labor requirements will change as sales increase and fall if the firm produces a product. But for the Marriott International, they have laid off 17% of their staff due to COVID-19. Labor turnover, the number of ratio employees that depart in the company due to resignation or dismissal. As I said, this company has laid off 17% of their staff due to COVID-19 disease, and this sector has been closed all over the world. Continue with supply and demand of labor. The concept of supply and demand for labor is mostly determined by the company's strategy, which is this company always recruit fresh grad, part-time student and veteran for their company, which they have to pay the lowest wages. Next, I will explain steps involved in an effective index or trend analysis. First of all, select the appropriate business or operations index. The HR forecasted must choose a readily available business index such as sales level that is known to have a direct impact on the organizational labor demand and is subjected to the future forecasting as a part of normal business planning process. Second is track the business index over time. Once the index has been chosen, it is required to travel back in the time to record the quantitative or numerical value of the index through time for at least last 4 or 5 years, but preferably a decade or more. Third is keep track of the size of the employees over time. This is to address the number of employees that works overtime in a year. Third is determine the average ratio of the business index to the size of the workforce. The link between the operational index and labor demand is presented by ratio. And lastly, calculate the expected labor demand. This will help the Marriott International Company to expected labor demand in future for that they don't recruit too many staffs in their current situation working organization, as we are now start in the endemic environment.
Okay, point number 4. What long-term impact would you expect in the company as a result of the following? Discuss how each item introduce a constraint on the future choice of an organization strategy. Long-term impact. Marriott International Incorporation has achieved rare status as a 45 category leader despite heavy competition from companies as well as industry disruptors like Airbnb, which spread layoff among blue-collar and unionized worker or level employee. If a greater number of employees are terminated from the organization, then it can reduce the satisfaction among employees, and there are high cases where customer complaints are remained unsolved, which is further creating dissatisfaction among the customer. Hiring freeze all level to reduce costs relate to program and service that hotel reimburse it for, such as marketing costs to be more in line, which they expect decline in funding given likely lower system-wide revenues. Company contingency plan include suspending executive chairman, reducing salaries for the senior executive team by 50%, hiring only essential position, temporary leave in North America, short-term work week around the world, and pullback on all non-essential spending. Elimination of all former in-the-house training. Only by updating these skills using well-developed program can professional firms ensure that they equip their staff with the skill needed to respond to future business expectations. Marriott International Management ensure that employees are well motivated. Highly motivated employees are more productive. Retirement. Phase retirement involves reducing working time in the final year before retirement. Working in a company that offers reduced working hours for older workers does not influence the relative risk of a 91 or 92 sorry 61 or 62-year old withdrawing a full contractor pension in the next 2 years of the employment. Elimination of the company model employee assistance program. Despite the increasing employment of EAPS, quantitative meta-analysis on EAPS have yet to be conducted. Result indicated that EAPS are negatively record correlate with work stress and positive correlate with organization commitment, job certification, and social support. Recommendation. Reducing the percentage of renew within the organization. Therefore, it is recommended to the management team of Marriott to launch new product or service for a new target market. Employee-related issue. To reduce this issue, it is highly recommended that Marriott focus on reducing the turnover rates of employees. That's all. Thank you.